Hello and welcome to round 9 of the UCI Women's World Cup here in Vårgårda in Sweden. A beautiful morning as the teams get ready for a 133.5 kilometre road race. All the stars are here. Lisa Brennauer getting ready. A good Liv Planter team with Sarah Mustonen. Kasia Niewiadoma, the best young rider, and Velocio Schramm will certainly be looking to try and capitalise on their performances over the last few weeks. Here's the standings after round 7. Lizzie Armistead leads with 335 points, but with 2 races this weekend, there is a chance for the other riders to close the gap.
It would be a shame to lose it. It's been a different season. Like last year I won one World Cup and carried the jersey all the way through, had a lot of second places, whereas this year I've won 2 World Cups, and to me that's a better achievement. So I'm not going to give it up easily, that's for sure, but it's not our main focus. If someone else in the team wins tomorrow, and it means that my buffer going into Plouay is, if I lose the jersey but someone wins the race, then I'm happy.
I think you have to look for good chances to escape or see how the race goes. If it's a hard race, then of course it's you can be on front and make it a hard race, but yeah, it's just how the race develops and see where chances are.
Of course, I would like to maintain my podium place because it's always nice to finish on the podium of the World Cup. I will try to race aggressive with my team and to try to get some move in the race. What makes me really confident is that we have more cards to play. It's not only me, but there's Jolene and Georgia, and I think we can really do something nice today here in Sweden.
It's a beautiful area, and just the way Sweden has been putting up a Northern Week for the peloton with the nice weather and the crowds here is normally very good. So I think it's a really important race for me, but it's one of the most beautiful World Cups as well. So I'm super excited about tomorrow, and I hope I can, and we, like the team, that we can achieve something big.
Always nice for Emma Johansson to ride in Sweden. Here we are on the start line, Rochelle. 17 teams, just after 9 o'clock in the morning, an early start, but all smiles and lovely weather conditions.
It is a little bit of a change to have a World Cup taking place so early in the morning, but live coverage for this race today, so it's a little bit new for the riders. We see Lizzie Armistead there, always very serious on the start line, and Kasia Niewiadoma wants to hold on to that young rider's jersey.
The riders underway, the Danish squad right at the front of the peloton and being cheered out of Vårgårda as they get their legs moving, and they'll get ready for the first big loop of the day. It's a wonderful sight to see the peloton making their way now out on this road, neutralised of course for the start. Here's what the riders face. 133.5 kilometres on a new course, 56.5 kilometres of a big loop before they ride back into Vårgårda to complete 7 laps of 11 kilometres. And Rochelle, today there is of course a new addition to this route with the gravel road that they face after 48 kilometres.
Well, there's been a lot of discussion amongst all the teams as to whether this big loop at the start will make a difference to the race, and the gravel section, how much impact that'll have on the results. It's only 2.5 kilometres, and it's before you get to the short circuits where the race will probably come alive.
Well, we see here an attack from the Italian rider, the 27-year-old from Ale Cipollini, and this is Elena Bellato just going clear and perhaps hoping that the peloton, a couple of riders might jump across to her.
Well, there was a little reaction from the peloton there, but once they get word from the race radios of who this rider is and what the intentions might be for Elena Bellato to go on the attack, they may be happy to just let her hang out there for a little while.
Well, her gap is increasing. It's now 25 seconds, but on this long straight road, the peloton will be able to see her quite clearly, but she seems now, as we look across the front of the group, the pace isn't high, so she'll start to extend her advantage.
Well, normally as a general rule in women's cycling, the directors give this rider 1 minute. Once she gets 1 minute advantage on the peloton, the directors will say to start chasing, and hopefully all the teams will share. But that's where things can come a little bit unstuck for the teams. If only one team is wanting to chase and no one wants to help, it can bring their ultimate plan unstuck a little bit.
Well, she looks like on this little rise now, she's starting to suffer just a little bit here. She's out of the saddle, trying to keep her momentum going, and the gap now is around about 57 seconds, but the peloton's starting to chase a little bit harder.
Well, she's very much known as a climber, Elena Bellato, because she was second in the Young Riders jersey in 2009 and 2010 at the Giro d'Italia. 1 year for second to Lizzie Armitstead, and the other year to Mariana Vos. She's just turned onto the gravel section, so this is where they've been talking about the race all happening, and she's still got a handy lead on the peloton.
Well, last winner of a race on the gravel roads, of course, was Megan Garnier, who won the Strade Bianche earlier on in the season. So Boels Dolmans will be thriving, and this gap is starting to close up extremely quickly.
Well, it's interesting. It's Lizzie Armitstead on the front. We knew she'd like to be on the front on the gravel section just to stay out of trouble, but she's really put the pace down, and you can see there that they've just about caught that rider of Elena Bellato. It's coming back together.
So Lizzie Armitstead there in the white jersey as the leader of this UCI World Cup. Still a lot of riders in this peloton though, so this 56.5 kilometre loop doesn't look to have done any damage. Bellato, now she's putting her head down again to try and stay clear.
Well, this is interesting, Anthony, because that doesn't often happen, that a rider gets that close. I think there was only 5 metres between her and the peloton across the gravel section, but when they came off, she didn't look behind her, she just kept the pace going, but it looks like the peloton just sat up and said, no, we're not ready to catch her yet, we're just going to let her out, leave her out there for a little bit longer.
She heads in now to Vårgårda. She's doing a great job today for this Ale Cipollini team. They have Shelley Olds, the American rider who from California, who grew up in Massachusetts, who's right on form as their sprinter. As we head through Vårgårda now, 7 laps of this 11-kilometre circuit remain.
You can see the peloton there just keeping her in check. They've got her in sight now, so it doesn't look like there's much panic from the peloton, but each of these teams are going to have a very strategic tactic planned out for these short circuits, and I think they're just going to stick to that tactic and hope that they can pull Bellato back naturally by sticking to the plan.
On the front then, Chantal Black, the winner of this race last season for the Boels Dolmans team. She had that magnificent victory in totally different weather conditions. It was pouring with rain, but somehow Bellato, after 50 minutes almost in the lead, is still holding on to a tiny advantage, but suddenly the peloton bring her back, and now she's caught.
Well, she has been caught, and it's another rider of Ale Cipollini right there ready to counter-attack. That would have been their plan. They want a hard race, but they've got Shelley Olds in the peloton, and that's the rider that they're trying to set up today for the victory.
On the front of the peloton then, Tiffany Cromwell as she leads Lizzie Armitstead. All the big favourites are still in here, but as you know, Rochelle, you've ridden this course, you know that it starts to be very, very hard indeed as they tick down the laps.
Well, there's a little move going here now, and they've got a little bit of a gap, but we did expect it to be more aggressive on the big lap, but there was all that talk about whether it would make the race harder or easier, and it looks like to this point that it's actually made it a little bit easier, because a lot of the sprinters that get around 1 or 2 laps of this course are going to think, okay, we're closer to the finish now, and there's one significant part on this course with a steep climb that's really, really difficult. We're just coming onto it now for the sprinters to keep in contact with the main peloton.
Well, you would have absolutely loved this as a sprinter. As we go up the climb now, the tempo is not very high. A few bottles being taken on. An attack now by Amanda Spratt of the Orica AIS team.
Well, she's an aggressive rider, Amanda Spratt, and she's had a fantastic season to date. She was on the podium 3 times in the recent race in Thuringen, but she wants to break this up, and the Orica AIS team, they're definitely going to be riding for Emma Johansson here, and she said, okay, Spratty, you're a dynamite rider out there, and I want you to just attack and attack and attack and try and tire the riders for my opportunity to attack on this climb.
Vera Kududa is on the attack now, but she looks around, immediately tracked by the double world champion Giorgia Bronzini of Vårgårda, and now the pace goes out of this peloton yet again.
Well, that is Amelia Farland there, racing on home turf. We see another attack by an Orica AIS rider, so they definitely want to make this race hard for Emma Johansson. That's Gracie Elvin, the Australian, that's gone on the attack, followed by Ale Cipollini, who are having a very good race to this point because they've done everything right for their sprinter, Shelley Olds.
Looking down then on this peloton, a wonderful sight. The temperature now increasing to around about 25 degrees. And on the front of the peloton now, the Dutch champion in red, white and blue, Lucinda Brand, tracked immediately by Shelley Olds, and near the front also Christine Meyeris.
Well, that's an unusual move from a sprinter wanting to force the pace herself.
Well, of course, this is one of two races taking place this weekend. 2 days ago, we had the team time trial.
It's like a really long team pursuit. It's all about being as smooth as you can, maximising your strong riders, putting them on the front for longer, just trying to keep as high a speed throughout, really.
You know, when it comes down to it, it's riding as a unit, so you're only as strong as your last rider.
3 times winners, Velocio Schramm, get their team time trial underway.
It's not just the girls who are out there, it's also to do with the car behind. We've got to have a DS who knows what's coming up in the race, who can give us warning, because you do sit so close so you can't actually see the corners coming up.
The average speed is the most important, and of course you need strong riders for that, but also a team who knows each other and can do a high speed on the front, but also can ride good in each other's wheels.
Rabo Liv hoping now to challenge for this team time trial. Out on the course, it is Velocio Schramm who are looking very, very good. They're going through the first time split with the fastest time.
We've got to pay attention to what's going on, we've got to pay attention and trust that they're a wheel in front and make sure we're as smooth as possible to make sure the speed stays consistent.
Being smooth. That's all.
This Boels-Dolmans team are looking rapid out on the course. They go through the first time split, 1 second outside the time of Velocio Schramm.
You just got to put your head down and pedal fast.
Into the finish line now. It is Velocio Schramm looking to set the standard. 53 minutes, 17 seconds, top of the leaderboard. This is a big surprise. Rabo Liv go through the second intermediate time split. Fastest time and 10 seconds faster than Boels-Dolmans. Into the finish line now. Here we go. Boels-Dolmans, the time to beat. 53 minutes and 17 seconds. They were faster than Velocio Schramm out on the course as they hit the line now. The time is 53:20. They go second. This Rabo Liv team look to be accelerating now. They went through that second time split with the fastest time. Does that now translate to a victory here in Vårgårda? They're absolutely sprinting. They hit the finish now inside 53 minutes, 52 minutes, 51 seconds. They smash it and take the victory. Rabo Liv win the team time trial, a good marker for the World Championships, and Anna van der Breggen closes a gap on Armistead.
We are really happy with this team also. The whole year is great, and to win this World Cup time trial is amazing.
Top step of the podium for Rabo Liv, and Velocio Schramm have some thinking to do. Just under 2 laps remaining in this World Cup in Vårgårda, and it is Boels-Dolmans and Rabo Liv on the front of the peloton, driving the pace into this climb.
Well, it's not what we expected to see, Anthony, with just under 2 laps to go, that all the peloton is still together. Here in the Sweden World Cup, it's normally more aggressive, more breakaways, but we can see the race is really starting to liven up now.
It's Lucinda Brand with a slender advantage on the front here. She's on form right now, second in Sparkas and Giro. And these riders know that she's on good form, so they're not going to let her go. But Rochelle, we can see a much smaller peloton now, little gaps starting to open.
We can see Amy Peters there on third wheel. She's had a very good run here at the World Cup in Sweden, so she'll be looking to be on the podium again after a fantastic result in second place last year.
Second last year and third in 2013 as well, so consistently good in Vårgårda.
Well, a lot of the sprinters are still in this peloton. They're about to start going uphill, and this is the lap that they're going to have to really hurt the sprinters if they want to break this up.
It's Megan Garnier on the front. Just behind her is Lizzie Armistead. But as we look through this group, there are some very, very good sprinters in here, and noticeably Kirsten Wild at the back of the group, the winner in 2010.
Well, it's all happening now. There's a split, so the stronger riders on the climb are really having a go. It's Anna van der Breggen, Lizzie Armistead and Elisa Longo-Borghini. They're three riders that are at the top three of the UCI World Cup rankings. Just to look over the shoulder there, Lizzie Armistead, is she going to come through and push the pressure? She's a little bit uncertain as to what she wants to do here.
This is interesting, isn't it? All three riders in the top of the World Cup, as you mentioned, Rochelle, are marking each other constantly. Now Elisa Longo-Borghini goes to the front, the winner of the Tour of Flanders. Second recently, of course, in Philadelphia to Lizzie Armistead. And now Longo-Borghini stretches this race a little bit more.
Well, it's an interesting move from Longo-Borghini because she still does have two teammates in this peloton, and they're both very handy sprinters in Jolien Dorder and Giorgia Bronzini. So it'll be interesting to see the tactics of Wiggle Honda on the last lap. But it looks like all the good sprinters have got over the climb with 1 lap to go.
It's around about 3 hours of racing now. On the front, on the left-hand side, it's Rabo Liv. But now an attack on the right-hand side from Sweden. This is Hannah Nielsen going clear. This is an audacious move.
Well, you can see Rabo Liver on the front there, and they haven't closed that down immediately. It's probably a name, Hannah Nielsen, that they're not really familiar with, so they might want to let that go a little bit, but it is very close to the finish and dangerous to let anyone go at this point.
Well, this is an impressive move. There's probably only 20 riders left in this front group as Nielsen starts to expand her advantage, but this peloton don't want to let her go. Look at this, the pace now really being driven on, and again it's Boels Dolmans who are going to close the gap.
Well, Hannah Nielsen, she went to the same cycling-specific school as Emma Johansson, so she's got a little bit of experience and education there, and she's gone to Belgium to give her cycling career a real go. She's going to come into 1 lap to go with a little bit of an advantage over the peloton.
Just noticed Kirsten Wild arrives. Jolien Dorder, the Belgian champion, the winner of the first round of the World Cup in Drenthe. She's also there. So some very, very dangerous sprinters in this group. Through Vårgårda then, a big crowd is built. And as we see Hannah Nielsen giving some real joy there to the fans. We've got 1 lap of 11 kilometres to go.
Well, that must be a very, very special moment for a Swedish rider to go through the finish line of a World Cup with 1 lap to go off the front. That was a sensational roar from the crowd there.
Well, the Swedes are certainly riding well with Nielsen. I saw Emma Johansson in there. Sara Mastonen is also in this group too. So they are really riding at the top of their game today.
Well, there's a little chat there between Kirsten Wild and a teammate talking about the finish. And as a sprinter, they'll feel like they're very close to home now. They've only got to get over that hill 1 more time and they're in for a chance of another World Cup victory.
Hannah Nielsen with a slender advantage, 3 hours, 6 minutes of racing. And also in this group, I noticed the Canadian champion, Jolie Newmanville. She's also in here. A couple of riders taken to the grass on the outside there. Bit Marianne Vos style in cyclocross, the way that they went across that little stretch.
Well, they're just closing in now on the Swedish rider, but that was a very brave move in the Sweden World Cup, but it was Rabo Liv that chased it down. We see Velocio Schramm rider there as well, so with 1 lap to go. It's quite a small peloton, but as we said, there's still sprinters in there like Jolien Dorder, Giorgia Bronzini, Kirsten Wild and Shelley Olds with her LA Cipollini team.
You get the sense that this is the moment now where the riders who want to win this race have got to try and attack because there's not far to go now. If you're not a sprinter, then you really have got to go on this climb. Amalusik, the Belarusian, appears at the front with Lizzie Armistead and also near the front Amy Peters.
Well, they're all looking around. You see Lizzie Armistead there in the white World Cup leaders jersey. She's looking over her shoulder, so she expects something to go. Something has to go. It's the last time up the climb. If you're not a sprinter, we see now it's the rider from Bigla. It's Ashley Moolman that puts down the pace, but she's followed by Anna van der Breggen, and she's going to have to make a move and push the pace if she wants to be in the running for the points and a podium at this World Cup.
Ashley Moolman this morning was looking forward to this race. The temperature absolutely perfect. Elisa Longa-Borghini now again stretches the tempo, followed by Armitstead, behind her Van der Breggen, behind her Ashley Moolman. This is a pretty incredible race over the top of the climb.
Well, we see again that it's the three riders that are at the top of the World Cup rankings, Lizzie Armitstead, Elisa Longa-Borghini and Anna van der Breggen on the front there, so it's a race within a race for that World Cup leaders jersey.
A big attack now on the right-hand side and immediately tracked by Lizzie Armitstead. It's Trixie Warwick, the German champion, the winner this year of the Tour of California. Looks around, but it's Armitstead who shuts the gap yet again.
Well, as the World Cup leader that's taken this race into her own hands, she's been on every single move today. It's like she doesn't only want to win the World Cup Series, but she really wants to win this race.
Lizzie Armitstead, the winner of the Citilio World Cup, the Trofeo Alfredo Binda, the winner in Philadelphia. Now it is Megan Garnier who goes to the front yet again to try and look after the interests of Lizzie Armitstead as they go now downhill. And it looks like, Rochelle, we're going to get ready for a bunch sprint.
Well, I don't think there's any opportunity to break it up now. They're so close to the finish and all the big sprinters are back in there. So it looks like it's going to be a race between all the sprinters. You see Jolien Daughter, she's sitting there very, very comfortably in fourth position. She's probably your favourite sprinter of this peloton today.
As we look down, it's a diminished peloton again. We've lost maybe one or two of the sprinters, but the stronger ones are still here as Anna van der Breggen now accelerates with Lucinda Brand on her wheel.
Well, you see Trixie Warwick there in the German National Championships jersey. She's there for Brennauer, so there's a few Velocio riders still in the mix there.
And as they go now towards the final corner, it is going to be Lucinda Brand in second place as they go round this turn. Carmen Small hits the deck. She holds up Lizzie Armitstead, the series leader. Brand now going for the finish line. On her wheel is the Belgian bullet, Jolien Daughter. Anna van der Breggen challenging on the outside. Who's going to take this one? It's still Brand who leads, but Bronzini almost hits the wheel of Daughter. Jolien Daughter hits the line now. The Belgian champion takes the win.
That was a super exciting finish with Jolien Daughter. Looked like she was leading out Giorgia Bronzini, but so strong there into the finish. A 1-2 for Vårgårda.
Oh, thank you. You're so good! Oh. Lisa, thank you.
Congratulated by Audrey Cordon and also by Elisa Longa-Borghini. Look at this for a lead out.
Coming first and second is something we didn't think of before, but the race went perfect for us. They tried a few times on the hill, but nobody could get away, and me and Georgia could hang on, so as a sprinter it's really good.
A great day for Vårgårda, 1-2 for them. Jolien Daughter takes the victory ahead of Bronzini. Importantly, Anna van der Breggen finishes in 5th place, and as we see, Lizzie Armitstead outside the top 10. Well, this is what happened. Carmen Small sliding on the final turn. Lizzie Armitstead somehow holding the bike up, but she, of course, lost all her momentum on the run into the line. Here we are with the finish line camera. Jolien Daughter crossing the line first. There's Anna van der Breggen in 5th place. As we look all the way back, the riders are crossing this finish line. Where is Lizzie Armitstead? Where does she actually finish? She heads in now to complete the Vårgårda World Cup. Armitstead finishes 19th.
We rode really well as a team. I felt comfortable in the front of the race the whole day, and then coming into the final I lost position a little bit in the sprint. Probably didn't have sharp enough elbows, and came into that last corner and Carmen Small crashed in front of me and basically took me out. Luckily I didn't crash myself, but it took me totally to sort of stand still, and then I was out of the points, so that's the way it goes.
Well, here's the podium for today's World Cup. There was a big question mark, would it be a sprinter's race? Jolien Daughter, Giorgia Bronzini and Lisa Brennauer.
All smiles from them. And of course, at the end of every race, the Suffer Prize presented by the Suffer Fest. And today it goes to Amanda Spratt.
I suffered a lot out there today. Being a race in Sweden, we really wanted to get our Swedish rider Emma Johansson up, as well as Katrin Garfoot, who's been really strong. So basically my role today was to make it as hard as possible once we got to those 7 finishing circuits, and I just had to keep picking moments and attacking, and I had my other 2 teammates, Gracie Elvin and Chloe McConville as well, attacking, so I feel like I can share the champagne with them as well tonight.
And thinking that you've won the Suffer Prize, did you suffer out there today?
I did suffer. I think I stopped looking at my heart rate monitor because it was maxing through the roof, so I definitely suffered out there. I was chewing a fair bit of handlebar during it.
Kasia Niewedoma takes the best young riders jersey into the final round at Grand Prix Plouay. And here's the standings after 9 rounds of racing. She took the first jersey, she's back in the lead again. Jolien Dora leads, but importantly now, Anna van der Breggen in second and Armistead in third place. It's going to be a tremendous final round in Grand Prix Plouay as the white jersey is presented to Jolien Dora of Vårgårda. Well, we're going to head now to France for Grand Prix Plouay for the final weekend of the UCI Women's World Cup. From Rochelle Gilmore and myself, Anthony McCrossan, bye for now.